hell of a storm coming here. Low pressure ridge off the coast here is bringing in some crazy wind and rain coming. So it's not the best day out there right now. And I'm limited on time. I've got a whole bunch of chickens I got to deal with. We had our process day yesterday for our meat chickens we raised. Had a couple friends, local friends of mine, went in on, I don't know what we had, 60 of them or something. And maybe we can show them to you. They're great. They're great, healthy, big, fat chickens. And they're all ready. Just got to package them today once I yanked them out of the chilling water this morning. They got to chill for 24 hours before you can put them in the freezer. So, meantime, what else do I have to share with you guys? A whole pile of people alerted me that I shared somebody's phone number by accident in yesterday's video. Oops, screwed up. And here I was thinking I was perfect all this time. Damn it. It's unfortunate. But even though, phone number, big deal. You can block any incoming calls if that was to happen. But I guess it's not too bad. What? I don't know how many thousands of shares there's been, and that's the first time that happened. Shouldn't happen again. Thanks for the watchdogs. I reloaded that video this morning. What else? Received a handful of people, emotionally challenged people, blowing a gasket at some of the things that I share online, knowledge that's been passed on to me. It's amazing to me how many minds out there today will actually react to information being shared with them with the words included. Take from it what you will, or leave it, or look into it yourself. But make sure you look into it yourself. I mean, you can't get more neutral and innocent than that. And people go, I'm absolutely ashamed. I'm ashamed of this channel, what it's become. I'm unsubscribing. Good, get the hell out of here. Don't let the door smack you in the ass. If you haven't figured it out yet, what I'm after today is I am after input, and I'm looking for as many intelligent, brave, free-thinking, independent thinking human beings as I can find. That's what I'm after. And I'm after people who are not scared of anything. I'm after people who know what's going on, who can see clearly and can speak freely. At this point in the game, for what I've learned on my own, it makes me angry. It makes me angry that I've missed out on so much knowledge in life so far. But it's not over yet, right? The ride's not over yet. So I am after knowledge. I'm after all you people out there who are very intelligent and have knowledge to share. That's what I'm after. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there that can't quite pick up what I'm putting down. That's unfortunate. And also, that will help you understand why I've been, in the beginning, why I voiced my frustration numerous times with people who call themselves researchers. Now listen to my next sentence. Not all researchers. All right? Unplug your ears, look into my eyes, and listen to what I just said. Not all researchers. I don't know how many times I've heard people say they've read online somewhere that, oh yeah, that how-to guy Steve Isdall, he hates Bigfoot Sasquatch researchers. He hates them. Who the fuck said that? You bunch of pussies. Quit making up bullshit. It's so frustrating to hear things repeated at times that didn't come out of my mouth. I'll make it clear again. What I have been frustrated in the past, but I've accepted more easily now, is the fact that people will see these things in the woods and become obsessed with them. Obsessed with them, and mimic other people who do the exact same thing. Form a group, form a Facebook page. We're gonna call ourselves whatever Sasquatch page, whatever Bigfoot page. And we're gonna get to the bottom of this, and they're gonna stay absolutely blinders on, focused on Sasquatch, banging on trees, whooping in the night. Please subscribe and join our page. Subscribe to our channel, please. And it's frustrating, all right? It's if you stay focused on this one truth, once you realize this fact, and all the rest of the shit show that's going on in reality skims right past your freaking head, it makes me want to grab you by the shoulders and go, wake the fuck up! What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You've seen one of these things. It's your first blatant example that, yes, the community around you is being lied to and manipulated since a very young age and not told the truth. You can't get more of an easier example than this topic. Yes, I do read all the encounters from all my fellow outdoors people who I will support to the day I die. I need to support all those people who are passionate about the same things I'm passionate about. I need to support them, reassure them that they're in a safe place, they're heard, they're not crazy, and give them the respect they deserve. Nobody asked for the shit. Nobody. Got it? So when people say, why do you focus on the Sasquatch thing? Because I've seen them. I've seen these things twice, maybe 3 times, for sure. I've heard them, I don't know how many times, I've had them throw shit at me. They're there, it's real. I've had my moments where I struggled to continue to go it on my own, but I do. I still go through the forest, up the mountain in the dark at 4:30 in the morning by myself. I still do it, but these things are on my mind the whole time. But anyways, what I'm saying is I need to help my fellow human beings who have had these experiences maintain their passion and live a quality life. And that is one of the big reasons why I stay on this topic. But I as well encourage all of you people out there who know exactly what I'm talking about to share as much knowledge with me as you can that I can share with the world that I can. Knowledge is number one, honest knowledge. And I'm frustrated at this point of the game because of all the real true knowledge that I missed out on because I've been lied to and misinformed. And once you become absolutely aware of that fact and you care, it's frustrating. And that's why I've said numerous times, man, it must be comfortable as hell to just, be comfortable to just go to work for somebody, get paid by the hour as long as you got some food in the fridge and you get to watch Honey Boo Boo at nighttime, and that's as far as I'm gonna go, and I'm happy to be that and content with that. Sometimes I wonder, how comfortable that must be. Maybe it's a very happy place to be, possibly, I don't know. But I'm not there. And tens and tens of thousands of other human beings aren't there as well. And there's tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who have had this fact, the Sasquatch being fact, slapped in their face. And they've had to face the fact that shit's going on that we're not being informed about, and then it opens your mind to wondering what the hell else is going on. So anyway, what I'm getting at is, for all the people that don't understand that, I have to deliver that clearly to you now. That's what's going on, okay? And for all you people that get offended, you're not safe here. As far as I'm concerned, what I've seen myself and what I've learned, offended people aren't, on average, your very intelligent persons. They're not that of an intelligent brain. If you have it in you to be offended, right? That's not a rational thinking mind. I don't have time for those people. And I'll say it right now, I don't care about their feelings. Get out of my way. Nobody cares about my feelings. I'm good with that. I'm fine. I don't get offended. Offended culture is not supported, not safe in this channel. It never will be. You're blocking progress of knowledge. It's a block. It's almost like today's mainstream narrative holders are manipulating the human beings to be as offended as they can get them. Keep them fighting with each other. It's perfect. We'll keep the dummies fighting with each other. Keep the dummies getting offended. Beautiful. Right? Anyway, moving along. Got to keep this ball rolling. But that's what I'm after. I'm after intelligent people. I want to learn as much as I can. I'm running out of time, just like every one of you, and I want to learn it all. I want to know it all. I want to learn it all, and I want to eliminate bullshit. I want to eliminate bullies. I want to eliminate narrative holders who need you to be what they want you to be. So anyways, on that note, I got many more shares coming. And I'm going to share knowledge that I acquire that I feel a lot of you people out there want to know about as well, all right? And just so you know, let's put it this way. As far as I'm concerned, once you realize the truth about what's running around on this planet, some of it, which I have and tens of thousands of other people have too, if your brain stays frickin' tunnel vision focused on only that topic after learning that fact that we've been lied to, there's something's wrong with you. Wake up. Get with the program. All right? There's many more truths up there to learn. Now, listen to this. What do we got? Feelings are going to be hurt. Feelings are going to be hurt. And it's not about not hurting your feelings, it's about you being in control of your feelings. All right? Toughen up, suck it up. Take in the knowledge, do with it as you will or leave it. And if you're gonna shoot the messenger's gonna shoot back, all right? Listen to this. This comes from a person who I trust, a person who has been very involved in military, law enforcement, and or government, maybe all, maybe not. But very intelligent person, shares a lot. I have a lot of people that share a lot with me nonstop. I love it. And listen to this, all right? Someone asked why the divergence from Sasquatch. Not really a divergence. Sabe people are an uncontrolled variable. Now they're waking up to what the elites don't want you to know. The Sabe idea once was a controlled rumor, a theory, but many are realizing they're being lied to. But the indigenous people know, or at least did know. Same lies, different topics, yet relative to one another. Relative how? Same liars, same narcissistic people, same elites. Missing people, government cover-ups, lies about the COVID variables. They let it loose, but a portion of the people are uncontrollable. They have come to know the truth. Like the Sabe, maybe the elites fear this variable. Why? Uncontrolled. This is the biggest threat and fear of the ultimate narcissist. No control. And if this is so, the only thing left is to eradicate that variable, or they themselves will be eradicated. Not by violence, but by truth. The elitist thought. Eradicate the unknown variable, allowing control of the entire populace to resume. This is why they attack the church, the real church. Faith makes people brave. Brave means they can't be controlled. Sabe, if proven fact, proves them, elites, as liars and deceivers. Like the lies told about everything else is proven true. Then the elitist media cannot control by deception. They lose their power, and this is the domino that will cause the men in the higher tower to fall. Good lumberjacking, Mr. Isdall. Keep chopping at the tree and it will eventually fall. Persistence is all that is necessary. Remember, if God is for me, then who then shall stand against? Be brave, be strong, know that I am God. Proverbs 28:1. The wicked flee when no one is pursuing, but the righteous are bold as a lion. Yatahe. Thanks, man. Keep it coming. You know who you are, I know who you are. And that's a good share for the people. A great share for the people. Now, if you're not picking up what that person's down, press rewind and hit it again. All right? And read it again. Now, what do we got here? Something needs to be heard. Let's hear them. Titled My Cousin's Encounter from your video, Proud Lakota Cherokee Man. I thought I sent this email, but I found it in my draft folder from July 22nd, 2021. No problem, man. I'm finding emails all over the frickin' place. I have a sure idea. Hi, Steve. My name is David Meadow. You can use my name. I am Brian Stidham's. You've used his name before. He's not afraid of anyone. Cousin. And was there the day an 8-foot-tall female Sabe blew on his back. It's been 46 years since that day, and yet I remember every minute. Brian told me he emailed you and told me to check out the video. Every word was true. Though I would add, Brian didn't see the Sabe till she was walking up the bank. My father and I saw the whole thing from the water. I would add the Sabe looked old. The face was that of an elderly native woman, but the eyes were blacker than black. Her breasts hung down to her stomach, and the wrinkled forehead looked like stacks of grayish skin stacked on top of each other. Also, when she reached the top of the bank, she knelt down and her knuckles were touching the ground as she crouched down. I was scared to death, and I couldn't move until my father grabbed my arm and pulled me up the riverbank. That was the only time I can remember my father ever running. My father would never go back to the woods. When I moved out to Washington, he only came to see once. My house is on a tract of land surrounded by forest. He would stand in the front room picture window and stare into the timber as though he was waiting for a Sasquatch to walk out. My mother, being half Lakota and half Cherokee, who was Brian's father's sister, was more in tune with the natural world than my father. My father was part Blackfoot and Scottish and really didn't believe in the native ways. My mother, on the other hand, well, I never saw an animal she couldn't speak to. She could be around any animal and seem to communicate with them. My mother was like Brian's father. They believed in the old ways and saw nature as an extension of themselves. My mother was so opposite of my father, it was a wonder I was born. She loved the woods and spent a lot of the time in them. She had known about the Sabe since my uncle, Brian's father, bought property in Michigan. In 1966, she went up to the cabin with my uncle and aunt. My father worked for General Motors and had to work. It was late June and my mother went to find some berries. My aunt told her where the blueberry was located and headed out that way with a bucket. She found the berry patch and was picking berries when she said she didn't feel alone. She looked around and didn't see anything at first and went back to picking berries. When she looked up again, she was looking into the face of two Sabe looking at her. At first she was scared to death and didn't know what to do. What happened next was a source of contention between my mother and father till the day my father died. She told my father that the Sabe spoke to her without talking. She said the tall one, over 8 feet tall, told her, "We are going to the water." Then both of the Sabe on the other, she estimated was 7.5 feet tall, walked into the woods towards the river. She was knocked out of her fear after hearing the voice and told herself, "I'm going to be okay," and headed back to the cabin. She said she felt at peace after hearing the voice. When she returned to the cabin, she told my aunt what she had seen. My aunt wasn't surprised, but felt bad for not giving her a heads up about the Sabe. My mother counted the experience as a gift from the natural world, which so many have forgotten how to embrace it as a part of the natural way, My father, on the other hand, told her she must have suffered from heat stroke and hallucinated the whole thing. Well, that all changed that day in the river. He forbid my mother and I of ever speaking of the incident. And needless to say, that didn't fly. They argued over the incident for months. I believe that day in the river was the start of the decline of my father. He became quiet and wouldn't leave the house unless it was absolutely necessary. About 2 years before he retired, he began to drink. After he retired, it was a fifth of brandy a day. I tried to get him help, but all he would tell me is, "If you can't erase my memory, that's the only thing that'll help me." He told me he would see the Sabe in his dreams. It tormented him the rest of his days. He passed away in 97, 2 years after he retired from a heart attack. When the ambulance arrived, he was gone, but he had the look of peace on his face that I hadn't seen since I was a boy. He was no longer tormented. How sad is that? Isn't that sad? And all because he wasn't honestly informed, right? Sad ending. My mother spent the last years of her life creating a journal for me. It contains the stories that my grandparents taught her about being Lakota. My mother had a crazy sense of humor. She wrote this journal in English and in Lakota. The note in front simply says, "Figure it out." She wrote of her experience with the Sabe and other experiences she had in the woods she really couldn't explain. She passed away in her sleep on the morning of September 11th, 2001. She never knew the horror of that day. Wow. I live near the Spokane Reservation here in Washington. A couple of close friends are with the tribe, and I have told them about that day in Michigan. They nonchalantly looked at me with the expression of, "So?" They speak of the Skewenee tea. Skewenee tea is pronounced Chawnee tea. All right. It means tall, hairy man that smells like burnt hair. They're not friendly. I've seen one, 9 feet tall, dark brown, and it screamed at me with the power of a jet engine, slamming my body. I ran up the mountainside to my truck and got the hell out of there. My native friends told me that the tall man has plenty of reasons to not like us. I have tales of the days when the Spanish and French came through the Northwest and killed these tall men. It's actually well documented. I still go back to the mountain, but I feel as though I shouldn't be there. I leave. Anyhow, that's what I can add. These tall men, Sabe, Sasquatch, etc. are here. Nothing more needs to be said about that. It only takes one incident with these people to change the way you see the world. It is from that moment on you question every statement, article, and website dealing with the tall man, and well, every subject we are being told is the truth. My mother used to say, "Listen to what nature tells you. It never lies." Amen to that. Double amen to that. Have a good day, Steve, and stay safe in timber and bush. Love the scenery. Sincerely, David. David, thank you so much for sending us that, man. That means a lot to me and a lot to many other people watching this right now, all right? You know, if you have more, I probably say this every frickin' time I get in front of this damn camera. I tell everybody, you know, share what you got. If you have anything that people can benefit from, get it into me and share it, or share it yourself somewhere, but share it and quit being scared. Do not be scared of anyone or anything, all right? Especially the truth. Don't be scared of the truth. I want every single very intelligent person who has real true knowledge to get a hold of me and share it with me. I got a lot of misled time to make up. So do a lot of you, right? That's what this is about if you haven't figured it out yet. The slap in the face of reality is, for many, is when you, somewhat unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately. I've said it for a long time, it's unfortunate to have these experiences, especially when you didn't ask for it, but I guess in a way, it is fortunate because maybe, possibly the people that get to see these beings are possibly the chosen ones who get to understand the world more intimately and obtain true knowledge during their lifetime. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's a possibility. I don't know. Sure seems that way, though. The majority of people that have an experience of these things, the majority of people, not all people, they crave more knowledge, right? And I feel sorry for the people who stay obsessed in this one topic. I really, honestly do. To watch them chasing their tails, mimicking other human beings and what they do in the woods. Mimic, and never go anywhere. It's frustrating and sad to watch that for me. All right, I'm not speaking for everybody. That's just the way I see it. Now, getting on with it. You wonder why sometimes I go on these little rants. It's because I've received a handful of emails that kind of knee-jerk me to it. And especially when people email me to tell me they're unsubscribing, or sometimes somebody will point out to me that somebody announced on the comment section that they're unsubscribing. It's a very funny thing for me to witness and watch when people actually do that. And all it is the direct message to the world from them that they are emotionally weak as hell and have a tough time dealing and thinking for themselves, and they can't control their emotions. What a frustrating place that must be. But anyway, and I guess I shouldn't find it as entertainment, but it just makes me laugh. I can't help it. Sorry guys, it makes me laugh when people blow a gasket publicly and announce that they're emotionally challenged to the max. I found that very intelligent people don't have offended in them. That's what I've found. The most intelligent people I know, on average, just do not have offended in them. They're too intelligent. All right, here we go. This is a reply to an email that was shared a little while ago by the woman who noticed her children's underwear was on incorrect in the morning. Very alarming. And her husband was obviously emotionally challenged. Something happened to him. So let's hear from this. That's what the title is. I know why their underwear was down/backwards. Mr. Isdall. Clothing being on the wrong or backwards is very common in abduction scenarios by other worldly intelligences. I think the man is a nuclear physicist, but I could be wrong and be thinking of the other man that you mentioned. However, in the recent book, Skinwalkers in the Pentagon, there is an admission by a Pentagon employee that this phenomenon hitchhikes to the family members of those associated with certain programs. Regardless, if he was a nuclear physicist, I know he was involved in the high sciences. It's very likely, more likely, than sexual assault, in my opinion, as a volunteer investigator who is very aware of these real phenomena, that the father has some memory of the events or a suspect's things due to some unknown fact that only he witnessed. It's not at all uncommon for those associated with these kinds of events to spiral in the exact way the man is said to have. These abductions are very real as Sabe. There may actually be a connection but I have no real evidence of this beyond a single story from an elderly woman who claims that she is friends with a family of Sabe and they are able to relate to her that the star people actually sometimes take the younger Sabe for a period of time and return them. Again, this is just one story, but I've always found it interesting. I'm very much interested in science and technology, and if we take some of the stranger occurrences related to Sabe at face value, then it definitely suggests a type of extra-dimensional aspect that I know both you and Mr. Politis are considering. I know quite a lot about the alleged star people, but I know you want to keep the channel regulated to Sabe. I really think that you should reconsider and open up to the stories on your channel of all strange occurrences in the bush. We need someone like you, sincerely, Thomas. And here's a private message to me from you, Thomas, and I will read that. Okay. Gotcha. And we'll see what kind of time I come up with, all right, man? And I can add her to a list of people that I'm going to be speaking to once this is completed behind me. And we're really going to get the information flowing. Thanks for that share. Absolutely appreciate it. And share more when you can, all right? Yeah, I want to hear more. I just don't want to, for me, I just don't want to be reading out a million emails of people seeing a flying saucer going through the sky, and that's it, end of story. We know that's going on. We know it's being seen. And by way more people that run into these beings before us, right? So if I start taking on just that topic as well, holy shit, can you imagine my inbox? But if I can hear more from people like you who've already been pre-investigating and have a whole pile of knowledge on the topic, and you get more into the meat of the topic, send it, man. Send it this way, for sure. And I'll share it with the people, all right? And that goes for everyone else out there. Get it to me. Get it to me. You get it to me, you get it to everybody. All right, what do we got? Here's another one. Here comes that wind, here comes that storm, man. It would have been impossible to film outside with that wind in the timber, anywhere. Just some thoughts, share if you have time. All right, here we go. Hi, Steve. John here again. I don't claim to be a scientist or researcher, expert, or anything else in these creatures. For myself, I take the same stand you do. Please, just leave me alone. It frustrates the crap out of me when I hear researchers make claims that Sasquatch does this, or they only like that, or they only do this, or in any given circumstance. Really? You know this? How? I don't care how many years you've personally been looking into these things. If you're on an intimate enough relationship with them to be able to say anything of this sort, you have a definitive proof of their existence, hands down. I've made nature my passion for all my life. I've seen things I could not explain. Have I seen things I cannot explain? Absolutely. Have I found skeletons that were just not right for a normal predator? Absolutely. Have I seen these things in the wild? Absolutely. Do I know what they are? Absolutely not. I can tell you, it's not mistaken identification. It's not a bear, a large bear, an oversized wolf, or any other unknown animal that I can name. I remember once coming across an elk carcass that had been pretty much stripped down to the bone, horns pulled apart, so the head was cracked open, and even the leg bones were drug over to a rock and shattered with another rock, and all the marrow gone. Can I say a Sasquatch did that? No. In all honesty, I can't. I was not there when it happened. I can only observe what is there before me. Only my first encounter was a violent one, and even though my buddy fired 5 rounds up the hill in the direction the rock came from, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind if whatever that was had wanted us dead, neither of us would be here. I've never seen anything move with that kind of speed and agility through the timber that thick, ever. I don't think it is possible to actually track one of these things like a conventional animal. I tried, and I'm a pretty darn good tracker. I hiked into the Bob Marshall Wilderness in Montana one year, up to what they call the Chinese Wall for archery season in '81, I think it was. I set up camp, got all settled in, and had gathered enough wood for several days and was pretty much set, and a perfect tracking snowstorm hit that night. It dropped about 3 inches of nice heavy wet snow and was about 20 degrees Fahrenheit and still overcast when I got up the next morning. I could hear 3 bulls around me bugling about 300 to 500 yards away, I thought. I grabbed my bow and headed out toward what I thought was the closest one, being careful of the wind and what my approach to the area should be. As I walked through a small opening, I cut tracks. No, I wish they would have been elk tracks. They were the huge, barefoot, human-like tracks I already dreaded ever seeing again. I stopped, glassed the timber in that direction they were headed, and just stood a minute or two thinking about what I should do. I finally decided, I'm tracking this thing. I'm tracking this darn thing so I can see if I can figure out where the heck they go. I know, bad decision. Well, tracking was easy. That kind of snow, nothing can hide from you. I cut fresh elk tracks, deer, bear, bobcat, mountain lion, and even wolverine. I just kept on the trail of those big barefoot tracks, and I was making time. I spooked off several elk, deer, and pretty sure a bear and a mountain lion because I was just making time. I followed those tracks for about 4 hours. I could tell by the imprint and the moisture in the bottom of the print I was catching up. Suddenly, the tracks take a hard right straight up the mountain. I don't mean on the diagonal, I mean straight up the mountain. I followed. I went all the way to the tree line and they cut back along the hill to where it was starting to get really rocky along the wall up there. I followed as far as I could and come to a point where there was a right footprint, then they just simply vanished. Now, I'm not dumb by any means, but it made me very uneasy. I mean, the last print was just a full stride print and then nothing. I hiked all over the place trying to figure out which way that thing went, but it was a waste of time. I finally gave up after 20 minutes of walking a bigger and bigger circle around that last rock and finding nothing. I turned and hiked back to camp. Strange thing was, at no time did the forest go that sickening silent that just stands your hair on end. Squirrels kept cussing me, crows kept making noise, even a couple camp robbers following me that let me know about every 5 minutes they were there. LOL, damn birds. I to this day wonder where that thing went and how. I do not think it knew I was there and coming harm. I'm not sure it just was not in the mood to mess with me that day or knew my intent to trying to figure out where it called home. I just don't know. That was the first and only time I ever attempted intentional contact. I just don't think they can be tracked to a destination unless they wish to be. I do think they are much more intelligent than they are given credit for. My third interaction was very interesting to me and probably stands out the most in my mind. And I find I replay that one more than any of the others as it was the most curious. I was hiking, again by the Bob Marshall Wilderness area in Montana, late spring. Snow was gone and I was going fishing for brook trout in a remote stream I had found hunting the year before and was just walking up to the top of a ridge that we met nearly face to face. She, trust me, it was a she, just stopped and gaped at me the same way I did her. I remember thinking, dang, if they weren't so hairy, she has nice boobs. Sorry ladies, I couldn't help it. I'm a man and I'll not apologize for appreciating the curves of a female body. Just how we are, you show us, we will look. She must have known what I was thinking because she put her left arm across her chest as she stood there looking at me. I was cutting my eyes left and right trying to figure out what the fastest way would be to put a tree or something between the two of us. I don't recall feeling any fear at all, but I just did not feel comfortable being exposed in such a close encounter. Again, she must have understood my thought process because she pointed at herself, then pointed up the ridge, and then pointed at me and pointed down the ridge. I understood. Not sure why or how, but I knew what she meant. I nodded my head, turned to walk in the direction she had indicated, and she did the same, and that was the end of it. I debated on leaving, but decided to stay and go fishing anyway, since I had driven the 4 hours from Great Falls to get there and didn't feel like wasting the gas to go back and not go fishing. I had no further problems with anything that trip. This happened 2 or 3 years after I had the chance to shoot the one down by the avalanche peak and had decided for myself I could not intentionally harm one of them unless it were a matter of self-defense. I've often wondered if the reason we both were so calm about that encounter is because she knew I meant her no harm and just wanted to go fishing. I have 3 collapsible fishing rods that I use for backcountry fishing, so I only had a walking stick in my hands when we met that I'd picked up along the trail more for entertaining myself than anything. I did have bear spray, but it never even occurred to me to take it off my belt. I wonder if it is possible they sense our inner intent with each time we run across them. Just strange how I was able to understand with nothing other than had gestures, and how when I was determined to track the other one down I could not. Just some observations I have made and thought I would share them with you. If you ever want to chat, you have my email. My phone number is, if you ever have time for phone call. Thanks again for the opportunity and the safety you provide here for us to be able to share these experiences and not have to deal with the ridicule that normally follows. It is so good to get this out in the open, in an open and honest venue, and to be able to share thoughts with a group of people that fully understand the life-altering effects it has in your mind and understanding. Good hunting and be blessed, John. All right, thanks a lot for that share, John. Absolutely appreciate it, man. I'm so glad you shared that email and all the details fully, especially the tracks disappearing. That's happened how many times now? How many hundreds or even thousands of people have come across that exact same scenario, tracking, and the tracks just disappeared. I know of a guy where I was last living in Parramatta, British Columbia, just past Whistler, British Columbia, where a guy had been tracking one down off the side of the mountain along the Birkenhead River, along the high side of the river on the highway, paved road. Tracked this thing down across the train tracks, and all of a sudden the tracks ended and there's only bobcat tracks. Can't say it turned into a bobcat, but you never know, who knows. But the bobcat tracks could have been getting covered up underneath the Sasqua tracks and snow as it was going along. And that same guy also shared with me that he saw one of those things in the Birkenhead River swimming in the middle of winter time too in there, probably catching late season coho or chum run, whatever. But anyway, it sure does change everything, doesn't it? Once you see these things, it changes everything. And you asked if people thought that these beings possibly know who you are inside. I am 100% convinced of it, without a doubt. And I figured that out for myself, became curious of it. Years ago, when I was at University of Victoria at a presentation that John Bendernagel was putting down, and I was with John standing there talking, and there was a guy standing there who had just bought John's book, and he had a notepad and pencil, and I was saying to the newspaper people, I believe, about not being scared and speaking up and talking about what you honestly saw. And this guy came forward and explained and told us, shared with us a lengthy story. And I shared it in the past on here, I know I have. What it boiled down to, the meat of it, part of the meat of it was, this thing was behind a tree looking at him. And he was hunting, and he had a rifle. And he put his 30-06 scope right on his forehead. He told, I said, how far were you? And he said he was something like 10 or 15 yards from it. And I go, and you had a rifle scope on his face? You saw the whites of his eyes. And he goes, I saw the wrinkles in his eyes. And he said that he put the scope on it. He said he vividly remembered going eyeball to eyeball, the forehead down to his mouth, and then took the scope off. And then all of a sudden the thing really jumped behind the tree. It was just barely peeking out as his hunting partner came running up out of the woods. And then when that guy saw it, he started shitting himself, and he put his gun up to look at it, and then the thing really hid out of sight. And when that guy put his gun down, the other guy put his rifle up to look at the scope, then the thing really looked out. And then the other guy put his gun up, and the thing really hid like this. And I said to him at that time, I said, is your buddy a little bit of a killer? Is he a trigger-happy killer in a way, by any chance? And he goes, oh yeah, for sure. He's more apt to kill things than I am, for sure. And that's when it was just a blatant obvious, it was an obvious that thing was reading that guy and knew his possible intentions and knew what he was possibly capable of doing. Probably knew that he wasn't that confident of a person and not that sure of himself, and possibly didn't think that rationally, right? And knew not to trust that individual with that gun pointed at him as much as he trusted the other guy. So that's what I can add into the question about whether or not they can tell your intent. 110% convinced myself for that one, for sure. But anyway, I got a whole pile of chickens right beside me here getting ready to package. I got to get at it. And I got to get at sharing more people, and I got to get at attracting more knowledgeable, intelligent people to come here and share knowledge with me, because I'm craving it, and I'm craving to share it with all of you. And that's, if you haven't figured it out yet, that's another reason why I never say, oh, hit the like and subscribe and share button. You can't talk intelligent people into doing that. You can't tell intelligent people what to do. This topic is going to attract the right people, and they're going to come here. They're going to come here on their own, and they're going to stay. And that's the only way they're going to come, is once they realize true, honest knowledge is being shared here, and it's not about getting the numbers. So I always laugh when people say, "I'm unsubscribing." Good, get the hell out of here. Did you ever see me invite you here in the first place? Were you invited? Right? I don't give a shit if people subscribe or not. I don't care. I already know for a fact that the uber intelligent people are going to come here, and they're going to stay, and they're going to share, and they're going to stay and learn. There's no stopping them, and there's no making them like, subscribe, or share anything. It's just not going to happen. That's why I just kind of cringe when people do that. Think about it. Be sure to hit the subscribe, like, and share button, right? Shut up. Anyway, gotta get going. I've got things to do. And I'll be back as fast as I can. The emails are frickin' flying in, as usual. But how else are you gonna get true knowledge today? How else are you gonna get true knowledge today? Please, someone share with me how we are going to get absolute truthful knowledge today. If there's some other route that I'm missing besides listening to the people, let me know all about it. I'm curious. I want to know. Without seeing things firsthand yourself, which I prefer, the only other way to get true, honest knowledge is from the people. Period. I don't think there's any other way. If there is, show me. Show me the way.